Scary Things Kids Say Part 42. My mom went upstairs for a nap. My middle son asked her if she was happy she'd be seeing Jesus soon. When my twins were born, one of them took longer to talk. When she did start, it was in fluent Spanish, which we don't speak at home, nor does anyone who had come in contact with her at the time. I woke up in the night, my 4-year-old twin standing on the end of my bed. Me, what are you doing? Them, you don't see us, Mama. We're not here. No thanks. When I was about 16, I was in a grocery store with my mom, and a tiny child I had never seen before suddenly latched himself around my leg. Wouldn't let go, kept insisting that I was his first mommy, sobbed when pried off of me by his actual mother. What the hell?
There are children outside. I'm gonna go out there and make a weird fucking noise.
These kids are creepy fucking assholes, let me tell you. Murderous, creeping assholes. Look at these creepy fucking children. This one has a goddamn gun, by the way. You know, as kids do, they're playing in a creepy fucking abandoned, junkyard. This one's got a fucking gun! This child has a fucking 38, I think is what that is. I don't know. You said it was a fake gun. Bullshit, that's a real gun. You know that's a real gun. They're playing hide and seek, and this one's like, hey, why don't you jump in the fucking refrigerator? Also, don't ever do that. That's how kids get murdered, is jumping into refrigerators. I'm not getting in that. This guy's got a fucking gun. Don't get in there. Don't do it, Jimmy. Billy. Brian. I don't know his name. Don't do it. Of course, this one jumps out, and he's like, oh, psych. Oh, you're dead now. You're gonna die in here. I'm gonna murder you. You're gonna die in here now. God, these kids. Brian is trapped in here, and he's probably gonna run out of air. Your boy is dying in here. Probably hot, and it stinks, too. Is he gonna fucking... what? Boy managed to MacGyver some shit together while he's been trapped in here. He's gonna get out. Yeah, he's out! Oh, he lives on my birthday. He didn't...
I really wanted to do a video on kids that have committed crazy murders, so here we go. Alright, so first we have Mary Bell. She was only 10 years old when she committed her first murder. In 1968, she strangled a little boy named Martin Brown who was only 4 years old in an abandoned house. Her and her friend Norma then went to a nursery and left notes about their guilt. 3 months later, her and her friend strangled a 3-year-old boy named Brian Howe. Not only that, they returned to the scene later and carved an M in his stomach with a knife as well as cutting off his hair and genitals. So then in 1993, we have this boy right here named Eric Smith, who was just 13 when he was walking down a sidewalk in New York and bumped into a 4-year-old boy named Derek Robbie. He then lured the boy into the woods, strangled him to death, threw rocks on his head, and sodomized his body with a tree limb. Alright, so now we have Lionel Tate, who was the youngest boy ever to be sentenced to life in prison without parole. He was 13 when he was babysitting 6-year-old Tiffany Unick. He was playing with her for 45 minutes before he called his mom and said she was not breathing because he slammed her against the table and had her in a headlock. Her injuries were ridiculous. Like for part 2.
This is said to be one of the creepiest kid shows that was ever made.
This was a real show called Ubi that aired in 2000. And it was actually created by the same people who started Sesame Street.
The idea is simple. Instead of puppets, it's just the hands talking with ping pong balls for the eyes. But there's just something very unsettling about the whole thing.
People have said the way the characters talk is very disturbing, the way they move around.
Them being puppets without actually being puppets is almost as if we're watching the skeleton of puppets perform. Or like a puppet that's just made out of flesh.
And yes, this show wasn't made to actually be scary in any way, but it's on the list of the scariest kid shows ever because some kids really did have nightmares.
Tell me about the time you realized your child might be a psycho.
Okay, so my youngest comes up to me and she goes, hey, can you record your voice on one of those little Build-A-Bear hearts next time we go? And I'm like, yeah, honey, of course. And she goes, sweet, because we're going to put that inside you when you die and fill you full of stuffing. She said we, so she ran this by somebody else that agreed on that idea. She wanted me to say, I love you so much. I don't know if I'm honored or if, seriously, I should call someone and get her the help she so desperately, desperately needs. But she loves me.
Tell me about the time you realized your child might be a psychopath.
My daughter has fully embraced the second child syndrome, where she gives zero fucks about anything and anyone at all time. So much so that a few years ago when her mother and I were still married, we nicknamed her YOLO because of how little she cared. And here's an example why. One day she was playing by the stairs in her house and she decided to climb those stairs and play on the landing. And I said, "Sweetheart, you can't be up there. It's dangerous." She said, "It's not dangerous." I said, "Yes, it is. You might get hurt." She said, "I won't get hurt." I said, "I promise you, you'll get hurt. Get down." She goes, "Okay." At that moment, she drained all motion from her face and proceeded to yeet herself right off the stairs. Now I'm hauling ass across the house a good 10 feet away like a fat kid when they announce cake is being served. I catch her just moments before she cracks her head on the floor, and as I'm laying on the floor having a mild heart attack, she kisses me on the forehead and says, "See, Daddy, I didn't get hurt."
Alright, so this is going to be part 3 of kids that have committed crazy murders. Alright, so the first one is going to be Joseph McVeigh. It was really hard to find a picture of him because of his age at the time. He was really young. So instead I put a picture of the victim, Deborah McVeigh, his mother. Joseph was 10 at the time of the murder in 2011. Him and his mom got into a really bad argument over chores, and basically the 15-year-old sister, Shauna McVeigh, witnessed Joseph pick up a gun and shoot her in the back of the head. The cops showed up shortly after a neighbor called 911. During the trial, they deemed that Joseph was not in a mentally stable spot to be on trial, so they put him in a treatment facility that was disclosed. Next, we have the Slender Man stabbing. Morgan Geyser and Anissa Wire stabbed Peyton Lutner in 2014. They were all 12 years old. They all had a sleepover, and Morgan and Anissa actually planned to kill Peyton in her sleep, but then they waited. The next day, they walked to the woods to play hide and seek. Anissa told Peyton to lay down and cover herself with sticks, as in like to hide for the game, and then shortly after just started stabbing her. All in the name of Slender Man. Anissa got 25 years in a mental hospital, and Morgan got 40.
Oh, you look so cute. Do you like your hair like this?
Can I have braids like baby sister?
Oh, but you look so adorable. What?
Braids, Mom. I want braids like baby sister have.
You don't have a baby sister.
What do you mean, Mom? She's right behind you. Yeah, I'm kidding, Mom.
Thank God.
She's still right.
Whoa.
Hey guys, I thought I would share the exact reason as to why I'm not having kids. Hey Ashley, your brother fell asleep watching Wreck-It Ralph. What you drawing? Can I see? That's cool. This is what I'm drawing. Do you like it? Ooh, yeah. I have a question for you, you know? Ask away. Go ahead. I'm here. I was just wondering, what's sex? Well, you see, sex is what distinguishes a male and a female. Sex. The kids at my school say it's something different. There's something standing behind you. There's nothing behind me. You know what, Ashley, why don't we just go to bed? Okay. Ashley, I tucked in your brother. Okay.
Scary Things Kids Say Part 61. My 4-year-old daughter stood at my bed in the middle of the night. I jumped as it looked like a little black girl with afro hair. My daughter is white with blonde hair. I jumped up and she said, "Mommy, I don't feel like me." When my son was 3 years old, he stood by my bed and said, "Mommy, I know how I died." Then he did a slicing motion across his neck, and it didn't faze him. Mind you, he was 3. All we ever watched was G-rated shows. When my 7-year-old heard him, she said, "I know that. I was his nurse and tried to help him." She later filled in more information and led me to believe she was talking about the American Civil War. To this day, it still blows my mind. My son was about 6 and his step-grandma had died. After that, he would not sleep in his room and go in there alone. I had asked him why he wouldn't sleep in his room anymore. He said because Grandma Deb is in there. Alrighty then, the door remains shut to this day. That's scary.
Tell me about the time you realized your child might be a psychopath.
So my daughter came up to me like 2 months ago, and very sweet, because she is very sweet most of the time, and she said, "Mommy, you haven't yelled at me, you haven't spanked me, and I love you, so I'm not going to kill you tonight." Tonight? Were you going to kill me if I planned on yelling at you? What? And then she was like, "I don't think I'm going to kill Daddy either." So now she frightens me, and she's 4.